Hello, sports lovers. Welcome to Sports TV. I'm Med. Today's episode on boxing update. Conor Benn has finally granted his first television interview to Ace broadcaster Piers Morgan on his Piers Uncensored. Now, Conor Benn made a lot of statements which is yet to be aired, but there is one statement that caught my eye and caught my heart, hence telling me that sometimes we should all exercise a little bit of discretion when we are dealing with people. And I quote from Conor Benn: I didn't think I was going to make it through this period. I felt like I was on death row for something I hadn't done. I was taking it day by day. I didn't think I would see another day. Yeah, I was suicidal. This particular quote caught my attention, telling me that sometimes we must exercise a little bit of discretion and be a little bit careful when people come up for public criticism, especially for something that has not been fully or thoroughly investigated. I think Conor Benn and his team have also not helped issues by the way they've handled issues. I have said that he who wants justice must come with clean hands. So Conor Benn and his team should have readily presented themselves to the British Boxing Board of Control and not relinquish his title, making it seem as if the authorities who were sanctioning the fight or the governing bodies were against him. And I don't think that was a good process, because he, Conor Benn, should have submitted himself to the process. If the results that comes and he is not pleased with, there is remedy for him to seek justice. But he declining and blocking them and preventing them from investigating, then it raises a lot of eyebrows and makes people judge you for being guilty. But in boxing, including he, Conor Benn himself, is guilty for that. He, Conor Benn, pronounced Gerald Miller guilty before there was an investigation into Gerald Miller's case. So I'm not saying karma, but karma, we all know, is a B. But now to other substantive issues. Conor Benn has also issued a statement debunking the WBC's statement, the issue, stating that exonerating the lab, putting the blame on eating contaminated air. Conor Benn has issued a statement debunking that, saying that he, Conor Benn, or VADA broke a lot of protocols during the process. One of the protocols in which VADA broke was testing his urine multiple times. They tested his urine 3 times. He was negative. Then upon the 4th test, he became positive for clenbuterol. We don't know if that was the testing regime for both field tests. Was the first urine tested 4 times, and was the second urine also tested 4 times? What is Conor Benn speaking to? He should come out clean, and I hope Piers Morgan asks him the right question. Which of the urines were tested 4 times? Was it the first one? Was it the second one? Was it 2? Or was it the first one was tested twice and the second one was tested twice? How did Conor Benn get to know of all these? If the urine, we all don't know the testing regime or the testing protocol. And if someone fails a drug test, 1, the protocol that subsequently follows. 2, when the person is negative, the protocol that follows. And when the drug or when the first test comes out inconclusive, the protocol that follows. So we all need to be educated by this. Now, Conor Benn is suggesting that the lab may have been contaminated. Did anyone test positive for clomiphene during the period in which Conor Benn was also being tested? Was the instrument from a previous test cleanly washed before it was used on Conor Benn, or a whole new set of tools were used on Conor Benn? Was the tools contaminated before they were used on Conor Benn's urine? All these questions needs to be asked. But per the investigation of the WBC, the lab has been exonerated. But I think if Conor Benn and his team wants to prove their case further, they should report the lab to the Standards Bureau so that they do their investigation and on the lab. So maybe Conor Benn is not the only person whom the lab is breaching their protocol. Now, is there a cover up from the WBC? The WBC noticed that the lab was tested, and a lot of people have been tested in that lab and have failed drug tests. If the investigation comes out that that lab is truly contaminated, then it will send a signal for appeal for those who were previously tested positive for banned substance by that particular lab. So the WBC is using that as a cover up and giving Conor Benn an excuse. All these things must be well investigated. That is why I think that Conor Benn should submit himself to the British Boxing Board of Control so that they investigate him. If he is truly innocent, it would come out clean, because the UCAD has already tested him for his urine. Why didn't those urine samples or clomiphene samples end up in the testing of UCAD? So all these things would be investigated. I think Conor Benn should just submit himself to the process. If he feels the process have done him a lot of injustice, then he's able to carry on with that, because Manny Pacquiao has stated that he is waiting on Eddie Hearn. Now, the British Boxing Board of Control is urging other governing bodies not to license Conor Benn. The thing is getting murkier, and I think Conor Benn would be the person laughing at the wrong side of his career, even if this stretches on for long, because if his name is not cleared properly, that stigma would always be around him. So I urge Conor Benn and his team to seek an appropriate remedy on an independent channel in order to repair the damage that has been done to Conor Benn. Thank you for watching. Stay positive. Remember, there is no limits to greatness.